Hello and welcome back to another video. As you might have guessed from the title of the video, this is going to be all about my 2024 Backlog Challenge. The last couple of months haven't been so great in terms of tackling the backlog. I've played a few kind of really good games, and 2023 as a whole hasn't been great in terms of ticking games off the backlog. I've played a lot of good games. My top 10 list, which I put out a few days ago, is full of really good games, but a lot of them are new or on Game Pass, and I'm not actually making much progress on the backlog or the actual physical games that I own. If I just tilt this up a bit, you can see above the 360 there's also Xbox One up there, and everything, so all of the 360 and all of these shelves are double stacked. So behind that row there's another row. So it's quite oh, can't get the camera sorted now. So it's quite a sizable backlog, to say the least. Some of them I've played, not all of them I actually want to play, strangely. I'm not buying games that I don't want to play anymore, but there are some in there that I just picked up in lots and things that I don't really have any intention of playing, but there's quite a few. So if I minimise this a bit, I'll talk through what my plans are for tackling the backlog in 2024. So for those that have been around for a little while, I have done various ways of tackling the backlog in the past. I did backlog playlists where I randomly selected a game and selected a series of games, and I'd play through them and do a review of each. And that worked reasonably well, but it did start, let me maximise this again if I'm chatting away. It did start to feel a bit restrictive. I'd sometimes be having the next game coming up on the playlist that I wasn't actually at the time that keen to play, but kind of forced myself to play through it anyway. So that worked well in terms of actually getting through games, but it wasn't the most enjoyable. And what often happens is I slip back into my old routine of just playing loads and loads of different games. So I thought rather than fight it, I'm going to kind of give in to my tendencies, and because after all, gaming is supposed to be about fun. So these are my 2023 stats. So total new games played. Oh, I haven't got my mouse on the right screen. So these are my... why can I not see the mouse? Okay, there we go. I've got my mouse up at last. I'll probably cut it, but that was a good minute of me trying to work out how to do that. So these are my 2023 stats. So new games that I played were 37. Doesn't mean I beat them, just 37 new games played. And the total games I played is higher than that, because that doesn't include just general like multiplayer games and stuff that I play year after year, like PUBG and things. Total games beaten was 19, so roughly half of the new games I started I actually finished. But total beaten from the backlog was only 8 from my kind of main backlog, and I'm not counting Game Pass on that. I'm talking about games that I physically own, or I own digitally, but not Game Pass. I actually have ownership of those games. And then I beat 11 games that were kind of like either new releases, like Starfield and that type of thing, or on Game Pass, which Starfield was also on Game Pass, but that includes older games that were on Game Pass as well. So as you can see, 8 from my backlog in a full year is not good, and I purchased far more than 8 in that period. But before I get to the challenge itself, the challenge rules, I thought I'd quickly run through the scale, the absolute mountain that is my backlog. So I'm not planning, it's impossible, I think, to get through all of these in one year. I'm not planning that at all. I'll get into the rules later. But here we go. I put it all in spreadsheets. You know that I love a good spreadsheet. Hold on, if I make that a little bigger. Doesn't need to be that big, if you're just seeing spreadsheet then. Okay, we're back. So this is, I've got tabs for all of them at the bottom. So this is Xbox One and Series X games. You can pause this if you want to have a look at them in more detail. I'm not going to go through every single game, but just give you an idea. So there's the game and then the amount of hours to beat taken from how long to beat. This is all the ones on the Xbox One and Series X, 54 games, and this is hours that it would take to beat them all. PlayStation 4, much more much more manageable list. My PlayStation 4 is actually broken at the moment. It's coming up with a hard drive error. I can't actually. I need to mess around with USB sticks and download something from the PC and put it onto the PlayStation, and I haven't got around to doing it. But hopefully it's an easy fix. But yeah, only 8 games, but some really good games that I want to play in there. Actually, what I was going to do while I'm doing this is just show you some. These aren't necessarily games I'm playing this year. These are just a few highlights from each. So Series X and Xbox One, Metro Exodus I have that I've been meaning to play for a really long time. Prey is supposed to be an absolute banger of a game, especially the DLC I've heard as well. So if I enjoy the main game, I'll do the DLC as well. Darksiders War Mass Edition. So I apologise to whoever left the comment. I can't remember who it was, but a while ago I asked for kind of viewer suggestions of games to play, and I was going to review them. Darksiders was one of them, and I ashamedly never actually did it. So apologies for that. But that's just one of the games that I really have been meaning to play. And Alan Wake Remastered. So as I say, not necessarily that I'm going to play these games, but they are just a few selections from the extensive list of games. PlayStation 4, Death Stranding is a game I've been meaning to play for ages. I think it's a type of game that I would enjoy. I love traversing worlds and just kind of getting lost in a space. And Bloodborne. So this one intimidates me, but I did really enjoy Elden Ring. So I know this is slightly different to Elden Ring. It's not open world or anything, but I think it's one of those games I kind of have to give a go, don't I? So there we go, there's that one. And then one of the largest lists, Xbox 360. So the blue means that it's backwards compatible. That's more for my kind of use than anything else. But yeah, it's quite an extensive list on the Xbox 360. And most of these games are this row of games up here. I've put the ones, as I say, it's double stacked. There's a stack behind there as well, but most of the ones behind are ones that I've beaten, and then that front row is all games that I want to play, so they're kind of in my face, letting me know. But just a few highlights that I want to play from the 360. Metal Gear Rising, this is still sealed, so I do need to get around to playing that. The original Assassin's Creed, I've never played it. I played through Assassin's Creed 2 for a while, back when the Xbox 360 was the kind of current console, but never actually played the original. So I feel like that's something I should right the wrong. Dragon's Dogma. So the new Dragon's Dogma is coming out soon, isn't it? In March or May, April or something, spring. And I've heard it's a really, really good RPG. So it's a game I would like to get to. Whether I get to it before the new one comes out, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But it's definitely a game I want to play. And then some kind of not quite as mainstream games, but Deadpool I've heard really good things about. It's supposed to be kind of a really well polished, quite funny game. And Killer is Dead, which is one that I recently picked up, which is kind of more of a obscure game, more of a hidden, hopefully a hidden gem. But yeah, there's loads of games like this up there, kind of games that aren't the mainstream games that have the potential to be hidden gems, and I really want to be able to just dive in and play them on a whim, because otherwise I don't think I'm going to get round to them. And it will also help me make kind of hidden gem videos and that, which I still have the intention of doing moving forward. And then moving on to the Wii. Again, a slightly shorter list for the Wii, but the two on this one, the two highlights. I mean, I want to play all of them obviously, but Muramasa the Demon Blade is one that I kind of forked out for. It's a relatively pricey game a while ago and I still haven't played, and Super Paper Mario, just because I've never played any of the Paper Mario games. I'm running out of space here. Let's do a bit of shifting around. And the PlayStation 2, let's get on to PlayStation 2, has quite an extensive list as well. You can see below me down here, all behind my back, is double stacked PlayStation 2 games. So I'll just run through these. Again, as I say, you can pause if you want to have a look in more detail of what I've got in there. But yeah, the list just keeps on keeps on going. So 127 games on PlayStation 2 and 1,657 hours. And I don't play enough of my older games, so I'll get onto the rules, as I say, in a bit, but this is hopefully going to get through. Just a few highlights from here that I want to play. Randomly, Area 51. It's just a game that I look at on the shelf all the time. I think that's probably a good playthrough. So I quite like the sci-fi genre. Dark Cloud. Another game that I quite I hunted quite probably 4 or 5 years ago now. Was excited when I picked it up for a reasonable price, but I haven't played it. It's quite a beefy game, so it's not a light undertaking, but it's supposed to be one of the best games on the PlayStation 2. Evil Dead, just a kind of random fun game that's supposed to be quite good, and I like the Evil Dead film, so these type of games that you find loads of on the PlayStation 2, I just want to jump in and play some, and they're short as well. I think this is only kind of, well, I can have a look actually. Evil Dead, yeah, 6 hours. There's only 6 hours to play through, and the amount of time I put into massive new RPGs and kind of multiplayer games and things, I could knock off many games. And then classics like Silent Hill 2. My repertoire of games that I've beaten in the survival horror genre is pathetically small, so I do want to kind of hit some of the more famous ones. So Silent Hill 2, and this is another one that I got for the collection because it's quite a collectible game and a famous game, and I just haven't played. So the OG Xbox, again, blue means backwards compatible, so I can play it through the Xbox, the Series X. But 37 games on there, another few hundred hours. But just a few highlights on there. Yeah, I've got Max Payne 1 and 2, which I quite like to play through. Chronicles of Riddick, Escape from Butcher Bay, which is supposed to be a really, really good game. And just for nostalgia's sake, 007 Nightfire, I have quite a few of the James Bond games on the Xbox, and we used to play this split screen multiplayer when I was a teenager, this and a couple of the other ones all the time. I never actually played through the campaign because I didn't own an Xbox, I just went around my mate's house who did. So for nostalgia's sake, and hopefully it's quite a good game, I want to play through at least one or a few of the James Bond games on the Xbox. The original Fable, I've never played through. I've been waiting for a remake, it doesn't seem like it's coming. So I played through Fable 2 and Fable 3, there's never the original Fable, so that's one I'd like to play through. And then finally, we're almost there, the GameCube. Not very many games on the GameCube, but the main one I want to play on there is The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. So yeah, not too many on the GameCube. We could make quite a dent in the GameCube. So that is the extent of my backlog. As you can see, it's quite a hefty amount of games. But let's move on to the rules of the challenge. So I'm on the wrong challenge rules. So we'll scroll up and we'll make my face a bit smaller. There we go. So, I have made the decision that I am going to cancel my Game Pass subscription, at least for 6 months, but probably for the whole of this year. The reason being is, yes, I think it's unbelievable value. If you are coming to Xbox and you don't have a huge game collection, it's undeniably good value. It's also great value for new releases, so kind of, Starfield and Forza Motorsport just came out in the last few months. It's a no-brainer to get a Game Pass subscription to play them on release rather than paying full price for them. But A, there aren't many games coming, like first-party games coming on Xbox anytime soon that I really want to play. And B, I have this feeling that I need to get value for money from Game Pass. So I end up just playing games on Game Pass that aren't necessarily the games that I really want to be playing because I'm paying for the subscription. I just feel like I should. So for example, in the last few weeks I've jumped into Ghostwire Tokyo, which I played for 5 or 6 hours. I thought it was okay, but it wasn't hooking me, so I dropped that. And I played for a similar amount of time, 5 or so hours, High on Life. And again, it was okay, but it didn't grip me, and I've retired it. But that's 10, 12 hours that I could have been putting into my backlog if I didn't have this feeling of kind of guilt that I'm not using my subscription. So I've made the decision, I'm going to cancel it, and there's no worry about that. I have enough games to play. I don't need a subscription with hundreds more. So I'm cancelling that, it's going to help. I'm going to limit my purchase of new release games. So this is literally games that are just coming out. So I'm only allowed to buy 3 in the whole of 2024, and I must play them immediately. So there has to be games that I am looking forward to the release and really want to play. Now, I am a game collector, as you can probably tell from behind me. So I'm not going to stop myself from buying games for the collection, because I want to continue to do that, and I want to make the most of the cheap prices that there are on Xbox 360 games and stuff and Xbox One games before they go up in value. So I don't want to wait a year. But I am making a slight rule on this, that I can only buy a game for the collection for each game that I beat on my backlog. So if I beat 10 games, I can buy 10 new games. I'm not allowed, so I have 407 games on the backlog at the moment. That number's not allowed to go up. Okay? And in terms of actually playing, so this is a year-long challenge, 2024. It's a personal challenge. There's no competition. There's no target even. It's just play any games I want from the backlog whenever I want. So there's no schedule. There's no kind of randomly drawing a list of games that I have to play in a certain order. It's just whatever I want, whenever I want. And it's just to focus on the backlog. I'm going to, as I say, we're cancelling Game Pass. I'm limiting the amount of new games. And it's all right to stop playing a game if I'm not enjoying it. I'm not a completionist. I'm not kind of I do like to get achievements and things, but I'm by no means like a hardcore achievement hunter or anything. I play games because they're fun, they're enjoyable, and they're supposed to kind of relax me. A lot of the times multiplayer games do not relax me, but I'm still having fun. So I'm trying to ingrain into myself at the start of this challenge that it is fine, it's okay to retire a game if I'm not enjoying it. There's no point in playing for 10, 20, 30 hours through a game just to see the credits if you're not having a good time while you're doing it. And the amount of games I have in the backlog, even if I retired 20, 30 games this year, that's fine. That's 20, 30 games in my backlog that I have played. I've played for a few hours, got a feeling of, know what the game's about. It's not just a random object sat on my shelf now. I now have a memory associated with it, even if it is a retirement. And yeah, it's how many games can I get through in 2024. So there's not really many rules. It's just play backlog games. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do monthly update videos with mini reviews of the games I've played that month, and stats, just like how long I played them for, which ones I beat, and that type of thing. And then we'll collate that through the year as the challenge progresses. But yeah, it's just an overriding focus on the backlog and trying to chip away at it. So I've collated some totals up here. So number of games, as I said before, is 407 games. So it's not feasible in any way whatsoever that I'm getting through the backlog anytime soon. But I don't really want to get through the backlog. As I say, I'm a collector of games. I do now, for the last few years, only buy games that I have an intention of playing. And every game on this backlog is a game that I'm looking forward to playing in some way or another. There's no trash, in my opinion, on the list. But I'm going to continue to collect, and the way I see it, I've got my entire life to play these games, so I'm perfectly happy having quite a large number, but I don't really want that number to go up anymore now in terms of the backlog. 400 is fine. And I imagine if I beat 30 games this year, I'll use that to buy 30 games to add to the collection. So I'm not expecting that number to go down too much, but I want to play the games that are already on my backlog. This is the amount of hours. So I've gone through how long to beat and put a figure next to every game. You can go back and look through if you want. But 6,578 hours, according to how long to beat all the games in my backlog. So I normally, it's the Xbox stats that they give you at the end of the year, my average is normally around kind of 500 hours for an entire year, and that's including a reasonable chunk of that is going to be in multiplayer, playing with friends and things. So that even if I didn't buy any more games, that's going to take me 13, 14 years. So yeah, we're chipping away rather than taking it all on at once. And the average length of game is 16 hours, but there's a lot of shorter games in there. There's a lot of 4, 5, 6 hour games, especially on like the PlayStation 2 and things, the older consoles. So if I want to at one point just kind of not bang out a few in a month, I could just play loads of shorter games to kind of bring that number out. But yeah, that's it effectively. That is the 2024 backlog challenge for myself. If anyone else wants to get involved, please do. This is just on Excel, so it's not a Google spreadsheet or something, but if anyone does, just make your own list. Let me know in the comments. If people want to make Google Sheets or whatever and link to them, that would be great. It'd be fantastic to see. Maybe I should make this a Google Sheet actually, so it's public. So I might do that for the first monthly update at the end of January. I should just say actually, so in this month so far, so I have, this will be the sheet I update with all the games I'm playing. So far we haven't finished any of these yet, but I've started Baldur's Gate 3, Deliver Us the Moon, and The Crew Motorfest, because I had a craving for playing an open world racing game after racing around the track for ages on Forza Motorsport. So what I'll do is I will either beat them or retire them. I'll give a rating, hours played, and the date finished with on this table. And as I say, I'll do mini reviews in the videos at the end of each month. I'm still going to be doing my top 10 videos when I have inspiration and when I have the time to do them. And that's one of the reasons I want to play a lot more games on my backlog, is I have lots of lists already figured out, but I want to play a lot more Xbox 360 games, a lot more Xbox One games and things, so I can find those hidden gems and games that might make it onto my top 10 for those consoles. There's a lot of games out there. I know there's a lot out there that I'm going to really enjoy. So yeah, we're rambling now. That is a challenge. Anyone else wants to get involved, please do, and let me know in the comments. I will be putting out monthly update videos. The first one will be coming in a couple of weeks. Oh yeah, and one more thing I was going to say on the videos. I realise that the audio can be improved, especially as it doesn't sync properly between, I noticed this when I'm editing and it really does my head in. The audio doesn't sync between the camera and my mouth and the audio. It's off by a second or so. So I'm going to be investing in a new mic. At the moment I just do all through the webcam. The mic's in the webcam and it's not great. So I'm going to be investing in a new mic, and I'll figure out how to do that hopefully for the first update video. And so hopefully that will improve the audio and everything. But yeah, rambling again. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit a like, please subscribe if you are interested in this and you want to see the progress through the year. I'm hoping we get through a lot of games and we uncover a lot of hidden gems and things, and I'll kind of discuss all of that with you in the update videos. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you all have a great day. Now, on to the next one.